is going to be equal to the cost divided by the complement of the markup rate. Now, just to kind of remember what that terminology means, Dustin, do you remember what complement means? No? Hey, Tristan, do you remember what a complement is?
So if it's out of like 50 or out of like 20, the complement would be 80.
A complement of 80. How did you get that?
It's minus by 100.
You minus it by 100. Good. And that's what you're supposed to do. The complement is not Jace, nice sweatshirt today. That's not a compliment, although it is, but not in this terminology. That compliment is like what Tristan said, where it's whatever would add together with that number to give you 100. So what he did was he took 100 minus whatever they give you. So if you look at number 1, it says the cost is $345, and it says the markup is 25% of the selling price. Now, first thing that you would need to do, or the first step, is to find the complement. Okay? So in order to find the complement, if I do what Tristan told me to do, I'm going to take 100 minus the percent that they gave us. 100 minus 25 is how big? 75. So that is the complement. Okay, that is the bottom of the formula. Then we're going to take the cost, the 345, and divide it by that complement. Now, we do not divide it by 75. If Derek was here, I'd ask him again, like I always do every day. When I have that 75, that is a percent. So when I move or use that in the formula, that needs to be divided by 0.75. What's $345 divided by 0.75? What, Em? 460. Yes. Okay? So it cost us $345 in order to buy whatever that was, and we're going to turn around and sell it for 460, just so that way we cover our costs and make a little bit of profit. Okay? That was number 1. Number 2. The cost is to us $1.40. Its markup is 30% of the selling price. First step that we need to do, step 1, what's 100 minus 30? 70. So then I take the $1.40, I take the cost, and I divide it by 0.7, because 0.7 is 70% as in decimal form. What is $1.40 divided by 0.7? 2. So whatever that $1.40 was for us to buy it, we're going to sell it and turn around and sell it for $2. That way we cover our overhead costs and make a little bit of a profit. Something to put in that perspective is downstairs in the school store. Okay. Maybe it's a Mountain Dew or something. You notice how they sell those for $2? Maybe they buy them for $1.40 from Pepsi or from Coke or whatever, and they want to mark it up 30% so they cover their overhead and make a profit. Okay? The first one could have been anything from, if I buy a snowblower for $345, but I turn around and sell it for $460. That way I cover my overhead and make a little bit of a profit. Does that make sense how we're doing this? First number that you're going to do is you're going to subtract 100 from the percent, get that, and then divide the cost by it. Number 3, this is different. They actually have a different thing. It's not toy trains anymore for number 3. Weird. It says toothpaste costs $1.49, and the markup is 25% of the selling price. So we've got toothpaste costing $1.49, but it's 25% of that. So first of all, James, what's the complement to 25%?
0.75.
It's 75%. Good. So I'm going to take $1.49 and I'm going to divide it by 0.75. What number is that?
198.
198 or 199, I think. If you look past that, if you look to the next decimal place, it should have been bumped up. So we're going to sell it for $1.99. You guys going to be okay? Sorry. Tomorrow it'll be warmer. A pruning saw costs $49.95. And the markup is 20% of the selling price. Dennis, what's the complement to 20%? 80. So I'm going to take that $49.95 and I'm going to divide it by 80%. Anybody know what we're going to sell it for then? $62.40. So again, this is just one way of figuring out what the selling price is going to be, because obviously we want to make sure we cover enough to don't go out of business. All right. If a pruning saw is going to cost us $49.95 to purchase from, let's say, I don't know, the saw company, we're not going to sell it for less than that, are we? If it were to, let's say it's a Skill Saw, the brand Skill Saw, and I get it from Skill for $49.95 and I own my own hardware store, I'm not going to sell it for less than that, am I? No. Because if I sell it for less than I bought it for, I'm going to go out of business. And that's not a good scenario. That's not something good that you want to have happen. Okay? You need to sell it for more than what you bought it for. Because if you don't, you're going to go out of business. Okay? And I don't want, especially some of you that have aspirations of owning your own business, that's something that you wouldn't want to do. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on how to find the complement again?
No.
Tristan did a great job as far as explaining that. You take 100 minus whatever the percent was, and then you take the cost divided by what that complement was. Keep in mind the complement needs to be moved 2 places over to the left. Get it in decimal form, and then we divide them. Okay. Now, on 5 through 10 in that table, just so that you guys know, the first column that you have to find out is the complement, and then the second one is the selling price. So you take the cost divided by the complement. Then if you turn the page, 11 through 16 has more of the same. Okay? Where it's talking about each one of those pieces. And 14, 15, and 16 have a little bit more than just one part to do. Okay? Anybody have any questions on how to figure out the selling price? All right. So then it goes on page 529 to 530, 1 through 16.